Okay, good morning. It's a bit of a damp day in northwest of England on a typical November cold morning. I'm going to do a video today to show how I'm going to approach what is in effect going to be a deep clean on the bike with an ACF50 treatment. I've been asked to do it by a couple of guys. I've just put a couple of videos online, not necessarily to start a channel as such, but just to share experiences, and as it's very much a place where I've learned a lot about bikes, how to do everything from just putting on slip-on cans to changing levers, guards, etc. So just put a little bit back into the community. Anyway, I'm just going to talk you through my approach today, so apologies about the untidy garage. But the first thing I've done is I've actually taken off the two fairings. Now, I've done this because I had done a test ACF50 a few weeks ago, but I left all the fairings on, and my access to the frame and the engine was limited. So as this is pretty much a deep clean, I've decided to take them off. Now, it only took me 10 minutes to take them off last night. One thing I tried to do is make sure I don't lose the bolts that come out. So what I've actually done, I've actually started using bits of polystyrene just to place the bolts in a vessel that I'm not going to lose them, but more importantly, I actually know which bolts came out of which holes on the fairing, and I've tried to place them in the way in which I see them as I took them off. I've done that because on the fairing a couple of the bolts are shorter than others, so it keeps it all in order. So a little tip works for me. Just thought I'd share that. Anyway, let me just talk you through the process. So today I'm going to do a snow foam. I use this Goldfinch product, brilliant product. I bought it from a car. It's superb, goes on really well indeed. A whole variety of sources on eBay, Amazon and so on. Obviously the Karcher. Now I use this Karcher on the bike because it actually has a variable pressure. As you can see here, it's upside down, but it goes from hard, medium, soft to off. So that way I can manage the pressure and not get the water into the areas that it shouldn't be on the bike. Just nearly tripped over the anchor chain, which I'm hoping all you guys have. I'll touch on security another time actually, but every time my bike's locked away, that goes on without fail. Anyway, so I'll do the snow foam. I'll give it a wash. I also invested in one of these 18 months ago, and it's brilliant for bikes. It gets into all those little nooks and crannies. It's obviously a blower. I think I only paid about 19-20 quid off Amazon. Superb buy. I did buy it for the car, but to be honest with you, it's more usable and of value on the bike. You know, when you're trying to dry it off, you just can't get into those nooks and crannies. So very, very good indeed. And it's going to be important to keep the bike really dry today before I do the ACF50. Anyway, once I've done the snow foam, and I'm then going to move on to a proper wash. So I'm going to use Muck Off, and I actually have started using one of these sort of long angled nooks and cranny brushes just to get into all the different areas. Then I'm going to make sure it's fully dry, and assuming that I'm happy in this weather, because it does look a bit damp, but the weather forecast say it's going to dry up, so I'm hoping it's going to be okay. I'm going to then apply the ACF50. So I've bought the concentrate rather than the aerosol, as people were saying that the aerosol can come out quite gloopy and thick, where this way I actually use an atomizer bottle that I bought. Again, I think it was like £1.99 on Amazon. And what I do, I put the ACF50 in here, and I put it in a bucket or a jug of very hot water for about 10 minutes. It really liquefies the oil, which isn't a thick viscous oil to start with, but it allows it to actually reduce down in viscosity, and it gets onto the bike through the atomizer in a lovely clear sheen now, and a nice cloud. And then, maybe not today, but once I've finished with the ACF50, maybe tomorrow I'll finish off with a nice polish on the bike. I use this. I think it's fantastic. Grand Finale spray seal. It's quite expensive. It's about 20 quid a bottle, but this is a 16-ounce bottle, and half an ounce will do a car. So as you can see, it goes very, very far on a bike. And this is a product which leaves at the molecular level a thin layer of protection, gives it a really deep shine, but also beads the water off very nicely. I know a number of you may be using the sort of ceramic coatings, and I've never tried that yet, so I can't comment. But regarding this is superb. It goes on really well, wipes within seconds, and leaves that lovely shine and protection. So I use it. Look it up if you fancy it, but I can definitely recommend it. Anyway, before I start work on the bike, I just thought I'd walk you through some of the mods I've done, some of the mods I plan to do. But I've had this bike now for about 3 months. Love it. I've come from sports bikes, or most of my riding life. I left that group back in, when was it, April, May, when I got rid of a Honda Fireblade, which I loved. Went for an MT10. That got nicked within a couple of months. So I've ended up with this, and boy, am I pleased with it. It is superb. It's got more power than the MT10. Okay, maybe it doesn't have the characteristic engine that the MT10 had, but this is plush, it's fast, electronically it's superior. It just rides gorgeously, and I'm really pleased that I've had the opportunity to go for this. I bought it, it was 11 months old, and it was actually a BMW Motrad bike, so it stayed within the BMW business, and I think it'd been used for staff, for promotional works, etc. So it was mint when I got it. I got it from Manchester BMW Motrad. Anyway, loving it. So what have I done? So thus far I've actually got the EvoTech. Yeah, I've got the EvoTech radiators. Should have put them on before a recent trip to Scotland, because that trip to Scotland and Glencoe ended up with a bloody hole through my radiator. So I had to get the bike transported home. Anyway, done the repair on the radiator rather than buying a new one for 700-800 quid. Really pleased with that, and I've got some nice guards on. Mirrors, I'm trying out some bar end mirrors. I went to the NEC at Birmingham, the Motorcycle Live show, which I thought was fantastic. Sat on a lot of bikes with bar end mirrors, quite like them, so I've ordered a set. I'm going to try them out. They're not very expensive ones, I think about 60-70 quid from HJR products in the UK. Try them out, I'll let you know how I get on with them. I've put the quad lock on. I used to use Ultimate add-ons, but I've just found that the case was huge, because I have a Note 9 Samsung, so it was a big phone anyway, but with the case it was so big, and also vibrated a little bit, where this quad lock is superb, solid as a rock. My latest and most enjoyable mod has been the addition of my Acra GP style slip-on. You'll see my separate video on that with the fitting and why I had to do it rather than elected to do it. But anyway, that's a great addition. I've put the tail tidy on, so that's the, again, EvoTech, really nice setup, fitted easily, really good product. I love the EvoTech. I think it's a great company with a great set of products, and I think that's about it so far. Obviously, following the theft of my MT10, one thing I did do is I fitted the tracker, so won't be ever owning a bike without a tracker again, that's for sure, guys. So anyway, just a quick walk around the bike. Oh, one thing I forgot to say is I've bought luggage, so I've got the SW Motec day bag, the tank bag, brilliant bit of kit, and I've also got the rear bag, so again, nice bit of kit, fits well. I was looking at the SW Motec panniers, but decided not to go for them. Anyway, time for the wash and preparation. I'm not going to talk through this, but I'm just going to keep the video running a little bit so you get a sense of what I was doing for the treatment, and I'll come back to you shortly. Cheers. Okay, so just a quick rinse with the Karcher. I've now put the snow foam on. I'm going to leave that for 5 to 10 minutes and it will actually just sort of degrade and dissipate away, so I'll come back to you when it's ready to be rinsed off. But yeah, I've tried to get it underneath, inside the engine area, at all sort of visible surfaces, but that'll break down any grime and dust and make it easier for the clean with the muck off. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes now. That's sort of, as you can see, the snow foam has started to degrade away onto the floor and just I suppose just break down as it's been breaking the muck down. So I'm just going to give it a quick rinse now, and I'm going to use muck off with a brush just to get at the nooks and crannies. As I said, this is a deep clean, so I want to try and get in the engine bay if I can. That's why I've taken the fairings off. But listen, if I just go and have a ride out, you know, on a Sunday or whenever, I'd always give it just a quick 10-minute wash anyway. Plenty of water with the hose. I actually use Autoglim wash for that, just to keep the most of it off. So this isn't something I do every time, but I would suspect that if I'm going to ride a little bit through the winter, which I don't normally do with my sports bikes, I normally lay them up for the winter, but on this bike I'm thinking if I protect it well, there's no reason why I can't get out on a nice day. I would suspect I might do this twice across the winter, and then once or twice throughout the summer period, depending on how much I'm riding it. But hey ho, I'm just going to rinse it off, get on with the clean now, and I'll come back to you in a bit. Anyway, you get the gist. I'm going to work around the bike now. It might take me 20 minutes. There's some areas which are a bit stubborn, so I might have to give a couple of treatments on it, but I'm going to work around the bike now and come back to you. Okay, that's been a good 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so, so I've tried to get in everywhere. There are little bits and pieces in there which are a bit of grime. I'm going to try and get off separately off the video, but that's all now with muck off. As you know, those who've used it, you can agitate it really and leave it for a few minutes. So again, I suppose I'm just going to give it a rinse now, dry it off, use the blower, and then I'm just going to start getting ready for the ACF50. One thing I forgot to say, I cheated a little bit last night, because last night I actually did my chain. So I cleaned that thoroughly last night with a chain cleaning brush. Again, a really good gadget to invest in. So you literally just put it over the chain. It has 3 brushes which do 3 sides of the chain as you go around it, and you just work methodically around the chain, clean it off afterwards, and it comes up lovely. Obviously, when you do your chain, and also when you've been washing your bike or been out on the bike for a while, you know, I don't always say sort of a range of 200 miles. I always dry lube the chain anyway. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to start the engine actually, to start to help evaporate some of the moisture from the areas I can't reach. And a lot of people recommend not to do that, but I've done it for about 12, 13 years and it's always been fine. So here we go. That'll sort of hopefully give you an impression about what it's like with the blower and how good this is. It's about getting the water out the crevices. Anyway, I'm going to carry on working around the bike, making sure it's dry. I'll be switching the engine off, but it's important for the ACF50 that I get it really dry, so I'll just pause the video for the moment and come back to you when I'm ready to start the ACF50. But hopefully it gives you an idea about how I look to do a deep clean on my bike in preparation for the ACF50. Hope it's of any value so far. Cheers. Anyway, I've been drying it now for a good 5-10 minutes. I think it's a dry bike, but what I'm going to do is going to wait for the engine to come up to its fan temperature, which is between 100 and 105. And I'm going to turn it off and just let that evaporate away. As I said before, it's important that the bike is thoroughly dry. For those observant of you, you'll realise and have noticed that I haven't done the wheels. I actually did the wheels a couple of days ago. After I went out for a short ride, but I will give them a quick wipe down once I get the bike back into the garage and onto the paddock stands again. That's just a 5-minute job. But listen, while we're waiting for it to go to temperature, I just thought I'd share with you the new slip-on. I'm loving it. It's about 50% louder, give or take, than the standard HP4. Definitely deeper tone, and the pops and bangs are lovely. They're not over the top, but I know I'm loving it. So here's a little blast for those who are considering it before I come to the next part. We're all kids at heart, aren't we? Back to you in a bit. Okay, just one other product I'm using, I didn't mention before. I use this on my wheels. It's a dry wash and wax by Michelin. Unfortunately, the actual trigger on this doesn't work. I'll buy myself another one off Amazon or something and just get it replaced across. But I've been using this just with a damp cloth, putting it on, letting it dry for a couple of minutes, well, maybe not in a couple of minutes, maybe 30 seconds, and wiping off, and it is great for the wheels. It really is. It sort of brings them up lovely, and it sort of, I wouldn't say protect them as such, but it just, because there's not a lot of water everywhere, you don't get all those drip marks, especially on the black. It does seem to stay and you'll have drip marks. So I think it's a great little product. I said I'm not endorsed any of these, I just buy these myself, but just in case you were wondering. Okay, so we're now on to the ACF50 treatment. As you can see, I've covered the wheels, the tyres, the brakes, the calipers, anything which shouldn't be getting lubricated for obvious reasons. I've taken the seat cowl off, I've taken the seat off, because the ACF50 can go on plastics, metals, it can also go on electrical connections. It doesn't interfere or inhibit the operation. So it's a good general dose of ACF50. You'll see from the jug in front, the atomizer sat there. It's been there for about 10 minutes, I've put about a third of that bottle in here. I think that'll be ample for this. I think on the larger bikes I'll need more, but all I'm going to do now is I'm not going to over coat it. It's going to be a light dusting, trying to get inside the engine area, try and cloud it up inside, and literally all I'll be doing after this is if there's any residue that I can see, I'll just wipe it off. Now, one thing ACF50 is really good for is the blacks. It brings up the black frame, the black paintwork, and the black metalwork like brand new. So a little wipe over as they're finished will just bring it up nicely, and I'll then just leave it to dry. So here we go. And there you go. Just going to let that seep in. Apparently this product has a knack of finding its way into the crevices. Just leave it for a few minutes. There's obvious areas where I put too much on there, but it literally is that quick. Because you've done the prep before with the wheels, the brakes, etc., you're not worried about getting it where it shouldn't be. Take the seats off. So literally all I'm going to do now is wipe it off, and that's me done. I haven't worried too much about the tank and the plastics. I've literally just given them a coating just for aesthetics really. But here under the seat you've got your battery terminals. So again, all going to benefit from getting a little coating. If the dog comes any closer, he'll get a coating. But now, as you can see, well, I hope you can see from the video, it wipes off really, really nicely. Because it's literally just a very small, very minute film of oil that goes on the bike, wiping the excess off doesn't reduce the impact of the application. But as you can see, I'm just giving a general wipe where I can see some main areas where it's been oversprayed a little bit much. Even give the exhaust damn alarms. What you will find is that when you start the bike up, once it's all seeped in, is that it will smoke. The heat will definitely smoke from the engine, and it will definitely smoke from the exhaust. That's to be expected. On all the websites and YouTube videos you'll see exactly the same. It's not something to be worried about. I found last time I did it, it lasted for about 10 minutes and it was good as gold. There was a little bit of drips on, a few drips on the floor, but I'll just coat them overnight with newspaper. And again, just making sure that there's no excess on it. So I'm going to continue working on that now. and I'll come back to you shortly. Okay, no video goes without getting Archie the dog in. Anyway, he's just been supervising me over the last hour or so. Anyway, back to the bike. So I've given it a wipe down. I'm not sure whether the camera's picking this up, but the plastics and all the casings and framework comes up lovely. There's no purple residue, although I'm saying that I've just seen a little bit here, but these are the little bits you'll just clean off when you see them. I'm going to leave it for, you recommend overnight, but I'm going to leave it for a couple of hours. I'm going to have a bit of lunch and then come back, and I'm going to start the engine up, and I'm just going to let all the excess that I couldn't get to burn off, because the last thing you want is to have that burning off when you're riding the bike. You'll have noticed I will have got AC50 on the rear sets and pegs. Not to worry, it doesn't leave what you'd expect to be an oily film. I'm not quite sure how it works, but it definitely doesn't leave that residual oily sort of slippery feel to it. It obviously does at the very, very micron level, but not at the discernible level from touch, which is why it's so good and why it gets into all the sort of crevices on the bike. But listen, this is the second treatment I've given it. I suppose I'll find out next year as to whether there's any corrosion on the bike, but I'm not going to be riding it all winter. But if there are good nice days, warm days, I say warm days, but bright days and dry days where I can get out on the bike, I will do, in the comfort that I've treated it, and provided I give it a wash every time I come in, I see no reason why I shouldn't ride through the winter. That's pretty much against my sort of thinking while I had the sports bikes, but to be honest with you, the naked bikes do lend themselves to a bit more style of riding, make it riding a bit more accessible, I think. So I hope the video has been helpful. I might just put a couple of seconds just to finish the video off once it's smoking away this afternoon. But if it's been useful, give me a thumbs up. I'm going to do another video over the next a couple of days, maybe next week, around the mirrors that I'm going to put on. I'll also do one just showing you a bit more about the road lock and how that works, because I highly recommend that. But yeah, as I said, I'm not a professional, I'm just doing this for a bit of fun and just to put something back onto the forum, and hope you find it useful. Thanks. Okay, so here we are, a couple of hours later, bit of lunch inside me, fairings back on, and again, because I had all the screws and the bolts tidied away and knew exactly where they were, it was a dog would get them back on, went back on in 10 minutes. I'm not sure if the video's picking this up, but we're starting to see. Start to see the smoke and the oil burning off the ACF50. It will get slightly worse than this. It's not dreadful, but it'll take a good 10-15 minutes just to warm everything through, burn off any excess. But listen, hope you found the video useful. I'm loving the bike. As I said, I'm just doing this for a bit of fun, so don't be too harsh on me, guys, but hopefully you found it useful. Have a good day. Cheers now.